Hi boys and girls, I hope you had a wonderful week off, and we are going to be finishing our Zentangle Pumpkins today. So first thing you're going to need is your Sharpie, and if you still have some areas that need to be filled in with pattern, we are going to do that first. So I am going to go ahead and finish up that part of my pumpkin. So I chose to do every single one of my pieces with a pattern. You do not have to do that. If you are leaving some blank, it shouldn't look like it's unfinished, meaning that you shouldn't do like 2 with patterns and then leave the rest empty. If you do like an empty one here, an empty one here, an empty one here, an empty one here, an empty one, like 1 in each section, that would be fine. Just make sure you kind of spread it out so it looks like you did it on purpose and not like you just forgot to finish it. Once you are ready to paint, we're going to get rid of our Sharpies, and then you will need to get out your watercolors that you got in your supply kit. It should have a paintbrush with it. You will need a cup of water and then a paper towel just to rinse and clean. We are only going to be using the warm colors of red, orange, and yellow, those 3 right there, for our pumpkin. And we're doing just a wash of color, so it doesn't have to be like this detailed. We're not doing all these individual. We're just washing right over the Sharpie because the watercolor is transparent. It will show all your detail through. You can choose to leave the background white, or you could add a little bit of color. If you do, I suggest using one of those 4 there, the brown, the purple, blue, or green. I would not use black just because there's so much black here already. And you don't want to use one of these colors because we're using them in the pumpkin. So I am going to get ready to paint. So to start with watercolors, you know you need to wet your brush, and then you will be dipping it into the color, swirling it around. Now remember, you don't want to gouge into your paints, and you want to try to keep this tray as neat as possible. So when I start to put this on, I am just pulling the color right over the section I want it to go. Now you can lighten and darken a color by adding more water to lighten it. So if I just do that, it gets a really light kind of a peach color. Or if I have hardly any water at all, it will be a darker orange color. So you can kind of see the difference in what they look like. Either one is okay. There's no right or wrong as far as that goes. You can blend colors. So as I'm painting with this orange, while it is still wet, I can rinse my brush, dip into the yellow, and color some yellow right on top of that, and the orange and yellow will blend together. You can do the same thing with red. So if I put some orange on while it's still wet, dip into the red a little bit, and I can paint red in there. Okay friends, so I have finished painting. Now if you are happy with it as is, you can leave it. I did go ahead and do the stem and the vine brown. And I don't know if you can tell this, but I also added a little brown along the bottom edge just to give it a little bit of shadow. I kind of like how that looks. You do not have to do that. So if you are happy with it, you can photograph it as is, put it on Art Sonia under Zentangle Pumpkins, or if you would like to add a little color to the background, you can go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to choose blue, just so I can show you kind of how to do the background. Now I let this sit for a little bit. You don't want really wet edges, because when you go to paint right up next to the edge, there's a chance that this blue will bleed into the other colors if it's wet. So you may want to let that dry for a little bit. I'm going to paint right up to the edge, and then I just did some water to kind of lighten the color. So I just added water to my brush, and then I'm just sort of spreading this color around through the background. All right, there is my finished painting with the blue background. So you can decide if you like it with the background or if you'd like to keep it plain white. I cannot wait to see your beautiful Zentangle pumpkins all painted and finished. Make sure you take a nice close picture, crop the background out of it so all we see in your submission is just your artwork. I hope you guys had fun with this project, and I will see you next week. Have a great week, guys.